Hey guys, this is miicrow. I wanted to go over a few trading tips for the up-and-coming expansion, as well as stuff that you should know in order to prep for the expansion so that you don't fall behind and you can stay on top of getting that 700 gear score gear as soon as possible. The first tip I wanted to kind of go over was dark matter. Dark matter is going to be a resource that can be obtained from legendary materials, which can be gained from both prep in terms of salvaging a legendary material have a chance of dropping dark matter, as well as just getting gear in general upon expansion will generate this dark matter resource. Dark matter is going to be used, or can be used to change artifact perks, and also can be used to change named item perk drops from found in the open world. This will allow you to effectively create best in slot gear for a lot cheaper than going the prismatic scarab route. You will need dark matter for this though, and then you'll need these armor matrices as well as gypsums. These armor matrices are going to require things like blessed rivets, reinforced bracing. There's like all these different like new options that you can craft at kind of a 200 to 250, like in that range level of trade. Those matrices themselves, though, are a very, very good source of coin, but they require a lot of Azoth. And if we go into Blessed Rivets and like Reinforced Binding, for example, these are also going to cost Azoth. They're also going to cost powerful gemstone dust. They're going to cost gypsum orbs, prismatic ingots, prismatic blocks. Same thing for reinforced bracing. You get the idea. The main thing to take away here from this like dark matter is all this stuff is going to be costing a lot of Azoth. All those Azoth files are just going to go up a lot in value come the expansion, and I would highly recommend stocking up on them or having a way to get those Azoth files or a large amount of them. The other thing too is powerful gemstone dust seems to be a common ingredient for at least the blessed rivets, which will be used a lot because a lot of people will like to get the gear that you can get from this expansion and then use that as named gear so that with an additional perk, which will allow you to have BIS for a lot cheaper than normal price. But the consequence of that is you're going to have these mats early. So if you want to craft your gear, just know that you need your Azoth and you need your powerful gemstones dust. Stock up on that. If you're a person that likes to make money and then get the gear for cheaper later, which is like kind of my realm within New World, uh, gemstone dust will go up in value a lot come the expansion. Getting that trades go up to be able to get the gemstone dust will be very valuable, as well as stocking up on Azoth files will be very, very valuable. Moving on, and this is also used for all the artifacts as well. They have like an armor matrix needed for that, so it's just like armor matrices are going to be very, very necessary. Those gypsum orbs too, you should like really, really try to get as many of those as you can if you want to be smart about this and not fall behind early on. Moving on to another example of this, you have Heartrunes. Your Heartrunes are going to be upgradable to 700. When you actually upgrade your Heartrune to 700, you'll notice this is a very, 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 very steep cost. It's going to require 50 gypsum orbs. It's going to require 25 runic voidstone, 25 runic ingots, and vials of suspended of Azoth, which is like effectively each one of these vials is worth 20 Azoth. So compared to these other things we're calling 250 Azoth, the actual vials of Azoth are worth a lot more than that. So it's just another thing showing that vials of suspended Azoth are really necessary. And again, gypsum orbs are very necessary. This is a very expensive upgrade. But will be well worth it for the reward that waits. The Runic Voidstone itself is another spot they could potentially make money. This is going to cost lodestone bricks, it's going to cost gemstone dust again, and it's going to cost solvent. So that's like another spot that you can kind of create some income going if you have stone working up. So let's just know that lodestone bricks are going to be used for other stuff other than kind of going down the whole, what do you call it? Well, they're going to be used for other things in the game. Like before, they're used for like one or two recipes, but they weren't very very expensive. They were kind of like the predecessor to something that was expensive, but they were just kind of used, or there's an abundance of them. The value of lodestone bricks is going to go up a lot, and it's a very good thing to try to get ahead on. Moving on to another thing, mithril ingots here. This is going to be a base crafting reagent for a lot of stuff. That's going to require orichalcum ingots. It's going to require charcoal. It's going to require obsidian flux. So like orichalcum ingots, charcoal, obsidian flux are all going to go up uh, very easily. And just know that that like ingot route, the smelting route, is very, very profitable come expansion. We also have the recipe for creating the literal best in slot gear, which is going to require 50 of each individual craft mod, which we'll get into in a second, of a trick to get those a little bit easier. It's going to require a lot of timeless shards. It's going to require 10 of each. It's going to require this prismatic scarab, an Azoth inductor. Azoth inductors you can get from the trade shops, so don't really have to worry about that. It's going to require a lot of ingots, going to require a lot of leather and silk, and all of this is going to be needed in terms of the best stuff in order to create your Ultra Abyss item, which is why I recommend kind of going for the named item route instead. But if you go for this route, just know that you're going to need a lot of Abyss gear, and you're going to need your Iron Guardsman insignias. If you try to go con, you're going to need those timeless shards, and you're going to need these prismatic scarabs. Prismatic scarabs also cost a lot of Azoth. You'll like notice a theme here. They also cost a lot of golden scarabs. They cost prismatic blocks. So there's just like a lot of things that are leading down this Azoth route, which is why I would say Vials the Suspended of Azoth are a very, very underrated commodity right now that you can make a lot of gold off of come expansion, because they decided to make basically every single recipe just require this for little to no reason, in my opinion. Another trick for these kind of best in slot items is you need 50 of the craft mods, which typically round of expansion time will go for about 100 gold each. So like basically every BIS piece that you craft for every single perk like will be roughly a cost around 100k if I had to ballpark it, at least early on. So that might not be worth it to you. There might be better ways to create those instead. But if you are gonna kind of go down this path, and or if you want to like sell the ingredients for this path, all the actual gear drops that are coming out, like that are leaving the game. So like refreshing ward is leaving the game, refreshing evasion's leaving the game. There's a giant list that they put together. A kind, uh, ruinous, siphoning blow, like etc. Like I'll put this list in the description, but just know that all of these perks will be changing, or you'll be able to disenchant these and get craft mods from them, which will be a very, very efficient source of like gold to be made. Right now on most servers, this has been up to like 30 to 40 gold self-plug, but if you're in the Discord, if you're on Twitch, you knew this about 2 weeks ago. I've just been kind of hiding it because this is how I've been making gold, but this is likely like all these mods are going to be going for a lot. There's going to be like a big influx of them, of course, on the market, like when the game like first comes out. But they're just used for every single role, so there's no way they're not going to be worth a lot, and they're just relatively cheap compared to everything else that you could acquire at the current moment in the game. So that's a really, really kind of niche tip there that could be very helpful for some of you. And then lastly, if you look at the prismatic stuff, you're going to need those mithril ingots again, which is going to cost obsidian flux. Like for your other resources, it will cost whatever is associated with that, but you're going to need charcoal. And all of these are going to be time gated, right? You can only craft 10 every 24 hours, which means your best in slot items are going to be time gated effectively by these prismatic ingots. Uh, Whatever the next layer of like leather is and cloth is, like all of those will be time gated effectively. So if you want to get around this time gate, as kind of alluded to earlier, try to look for these name drops in the Discord itself, which I'll pull up in a second here. We have like a giant list of like every single good name drop. So we can kind of go through that in a second, and that will be kind of helpful. We've already gone through this on stream in a little bit more detail, but just know that there are like a lot of very helpful links in the Discord to kind of help you get this best in slot gear for a lot cheaper of a bargain than what is present normally. And big shout out to Jordan for making this, because like it's actually like super helpful. You can see that there's a lot of people that have been viewing this lately. There were more people on this last night. But link is in the Discord, and all of these things that are in here are like generally pretty good. Like there's some literal best in slot like weapon drops, for example. Like for all of the musket lovers, there is a Abyss musket that you can get here. You can get Keenly Jagged attunement, and then you can just put your third perk in here as like whatever you want, and that's like literally Abyss musket, and it's going to be a lot cheaper than trying to go down this roll your 3 perk Abyss musket. Like you can literally just get slap this in, throw in one more perk, and you're literally just good to go. You just have to get this drop, which can be farmed in open world, and you can go through drop by and all these and figure out where you could actually get these drops from. So that's like very, very helpful. So yeah, those are all my tips for you guys this week, but good luck with all the expansion prep. If you're on Marama, you have queues now. Congratulations, or I'm sorry for you, depending on what your perspective is on that, and I will see you in the next video.